It felt like a Godzilla bait and switch.
It was. Where the
Right now,
was Godzilla? God,
the
it
quality
was
is not
worse than
good.
Disney. It was worse than Disney bull.
Yeah, the CGI is so bad.
I'm swearing a lot.
Welcome to the Old Brother Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
I'm really here.
Oh, I
was
thought you were
thinking-
having a private moment with yourself.
No,
I didn't know what
well,
was going
no.
on.
So we're
Hey,
back.
Yeah, we're back. It's hey, Mike. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Dan. Special effects galore. I
Yeah,
mean,
we're
anything
back.
goes
The
this year.
show, you can see, it's bigger and better than ever, folks.
I thought Fredo might be sitting here. I was a little nervous.
No. So we're back, and took a little bit of a break there for the holidays. And I can tell you what, I've been sick for several weeks, still kind of trying to get the congestion out of the system. And so even if we wanted to go before this, I don't think I would have been able to pull it off. But we're a couple weeks into January, and I think this is apropos because we rounded out 2023 with an episode on Godzilla minus one.
Mhm.
Yeah, and which we both liked.
Right.
Do you know where that's at right now? I don't know if you
Money wise,
Yeah.
I stopped watching at 65 million.
Okay. Maybe we can put that up on the screen, like as
Yeah.
of this recording, where that's at. But we both liked it, and appreciate everybody that's checked that out on our YouTube channel and listened to that episode as well. It's done pretty well. So there's something in there that people have enjoyed.
Yeah, just take that next step and subscribe.
Well, some folks have. you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, it would be not right. Let's see. Everybody that's viewed it could hit
Yeah.
subscribe.
We'd be doing pretty good.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. With
just-
only
you
one
need-
thumb.
you
so
need
gotta
both
do
thumbs.
2 thumbs. Hey, the
There it
effects
is.
go off.
There it is. Yeah, you can see we made some upgrades in the technology since we've been away. But anyways, the reason that this is apropos, because we're going to talk about a series that we talked a little bit about because we did a first look on it
On Monarch.
back a few months ago, which is Monarch: Legacy of Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And it just concluded. It was streaming on Apple TV. It actually originally aired or first aired November 17th, 2023. Yeah, so it's just been almost 2 months.
Right.
And it just concluded.
And it was every week, right? They didn't take a week off.
I don't think there was any break. Yeah, I think it was pretty
No.
consistent. But we were looking forward to it. I think it's fair to say when we did the first look, it was like, okay, yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm going to check it out.
We
And-
mentioned it briefly when we did Godzilla minus one,
That's
and I
true.
said I want to like it, but there was a problem.
Mhm.
And,
Well,
and
The biggest problem I had is that it felt like a Godzilla bait and switch.
it was. Where
Right
the
now.
was Godzilla? God,
Well,
wanted to
okay.
start with a getting bleeped.
I have to say, in fairness, this is Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. This is not Godzilla, right?
Yeah,
It's
but-
in the monster verse. Well, hold on. So that, in fact, I was watching an interview with Kurt and Wyatt Russell, who both play the character Lee Shaw
Right.
in the series.
One young, one old,
Correct. Really? Couldn't figure that out.
one
you know.
medium.
Thanks for clearing that up. Yeah. But Kurt said this is exactly what they wanted to deliver. They weren't looking to deliver a Godzilla series.
Then they shouldn't have sold it that way because the trailer was
I agree.
clearly selling it. G-Day. That's all they kept talking about. G-Day. G-Day.
Yeah.
No, G-Day.
And they set it up in the first episode, right? That's getting you into the tent, right? And I was I'm in.
Right.
But then there
But after about 6 episodes, I was out, but I stayed in.
Yeah, in spoiler alert, because we're gonna, just kind of freely talk about the series now that the season 1 has concluded, and you notice season finale, not series finale. So there will be more to come, and
Well-
clearly with the ending, that's evident.
Yeah,
that we're
but
gonna be getting
wasn't
more.
this just a long trailer for the next Godzilla versus Kong movie?
Well,
Come on.
yes. Well, yeah, no, I don't think they're shying away from that fact. I think it's absolutely setting that up.
Right.
And this, I wasn't able to watch it before we got on air, but this Monarch takes place after the series of events that are concluded in Godzilla 2014, the Gareth Edwards film, which I'm sure you've seen. I never
I
got
have
to see
seen it.
the one with Bryan Cranston,
Yeah,
and
I've
I never
seen
got
it.
to see all that. Yeah.
But John Goodman seemed out of place for some reason in the timeline. But then again, the timeline went to
Right. Well, there's all this time jumping. And so this is where I get off track. As soon as this becomes a science fiction series,
and that's what happened.
I'm out. I'm
Yep.
out. And again, this interview I'm talking about with Kurt Russell, I think it might have been his appearance with Wyatt on the Conan O'Brien podcast. Conan O'Brien needs a friend. And it seemed like this is what attracted him to the role. In fact, I don't think from what he said, they were not really, they being he and Wyatt, weren't really interested if they were going to work together in this capacity. They
They
weren't really
wanted to.
interested in doing like just a Godzilla film or whatever. So there was something about the monster verse and the way that this was pitched to them that they signed on.
Right.
But unfortunately, that's what I don't like about it. I'm not in, and honestly, I'd almost be okay with the concept and the focus maybe not being on Godzilla if the quality of the other monsters in this series were any good. The
It
quality is
was
not
worse than
good.
Disney. It was
The,
worse than Disney
the
bullshit.
yeah, the CGI is so bad.
I'm swearing a lot. I've never
Yeah, you're
sworn that
fired up.
much. I'm
You're
fired
fired up.
up.
The characters, meaning the creatures, other than now, I think they did a good job with Godzilla. That opening scene when you see maybe almost
Right.
about 30 minutes in the first episode,
30,
about 27 minutes to be exact,
right.
he appears in the first episode.
I
And
watched the
then,
clock on the last episode. 2 minutes. 2 minutes of Godzilla.
well, and that's the only other time
We see him.
that we see Godzilla.
We see these random titans that don't do anything for me.
Honestly, I'd rather see Mothra for an hour and a half. And that was terrible back in the day.
Awful.
That little it was like a little bumblebee on a string. It
In
was so
that
bad.
last 2 minute segment, it wasn't just Godzilla. He was fighting some flying
Okay, but
pterodactyl.
well, okay, you're talking about the last episode.
Yeah.
And as you said, this is when the second and last look we got of Godzilla. I actually liked that. I liked it was very brief, as you said,
Right.
but I liked it. Like visually, I thought the effects, it was good, just as it was. Actually, we lied. We do see Godzilla one other time, which may be the best portrayal of him in the series, is when he appears off the shore on the island when the military is looking to unleash
Explode him.
an atomic bomb on 'em,
Right,
basically,
right.
right. And that was really kind of well done the way that
But that was real brief too.
it was brief, yeah, but again, just the effects because when we did Godzilla minus one, it's one of the things we talked about was in all the previous Godzillas, the films, anyways. It just doesn't look right on film.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
like Kong Skull Island or Kong, even going back to 2015 or 2005 Kong,
Right.
it always looked good in terms of the effects. What are you
Now,
holding up?
this is Shin
Shin,
Godzilla. I
Shin
mentioned
Godzilla.
it, but
Yeah,
I didn't have it with me last time, so I
yeah.
pulled it out because it was under S. It should have been under G. But I wish you would watch this because Godzilla has 4 phases, right? And the first 2 phases are so comical. When you see Godzilla coming down the street, he's got these big bulbous eyes, and it looks like a cartoon.
Right.
But when they get to the final version of Godzilla, it's really good, and the story is good. This, I had a problem with the story.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said that. That was my other point I wanted to make, which is if you're not going to have great monsters, you have to have a strong story and well-developed characters. And this series had none of that.
None of that.
It wasn't even good accidentally.
No, you couldn't even. I would say, "Here,
Hey,
watch Monarch. Here's a
here's a
gun so you can
yeah,
blow your brains out.
here's an idea. Yeah. If you're gonna have a MonsterVerse series,
Have a
yeah,
Godzilla."
have a
Makes it
Godzilla
so much more interesting for the
for the
watcher.
viewer. And even the locations, some like okay, so they get into this time jump and this it's the multiverse. It's the monster multiverse is what we're dealing with here.
Mhm.
Because they've identified this other again this multiverse below the earth or whatever where
Right.
the monsters exist
Are they below the earth or above the
or
earth?
whatever it is.
Come on.
Right, but they some of those sets like look like sets.
Yeah.
There's a reveal of one of the main characters played by I think it's Mari Yamamoto. I think is her name who plays what's the character's name?
Keiko?
Keiko,
Keiko?
right. Right. There's a reveal, a significant reveal of her character later in the series. What the last episode, I think, right? In
Yeah,
episode
she
10.
dies in the, like, 2nd episode.
Yeah, and this they show this location under the earth, above the earth, whatever it is.
Right.
It was so fantastical and but you
Co
could tell they were on a set.
Yeah.
It did not look good.
It
It just
wasn't a
didn't
real
look good.
forest, it was an indoor built. It was like going in ET at Universal Studios. When you go to get on the
Yeah,
ride and you walk
right,
through this forest, that's what it
right.
looked like.
Yeah,
In fact, they probably filmed it there.
right, and when we've got technology out there these days with like the volume on the Mandalorian. Now, I'm not saying the budget on this series is to that scale, but still, give
Right.
me something a little bit better than that. Now, I wanted to mention this because I don't know that you're aware of this. So, the two guys really behind the series are Chris Black and Matt Fraction.
Okay.
And Matt Fraction, I mean, they both have a hand in the writing. Chris Black was really the one that developed the series. And of course, there's a whole other bunch of people involved, but they're the two main guys. And Chris Black executive produced and even wrote, I think, at least one of the episodes, but was an executive producer, I think, on almost all the episodes of the series Severance, another Apple TV
Oh,
series
great series.
that we loved. Got one season of it. I don't think it's ever coming back.
No,
But
because of the pandemic.
and Matt Fraction, I think, wrote a lot of the WandaVision. No. I might have that wrong. I think it's actually Matt, and I've got to look up his last name, but he directed. Give me a second, and I'll get it.
WandaVision was really good.
Yeah, let me
It
look it
it
up
was
here.
very confusing at first, but
Yeah,
then once you figured out what was going on, it was
here
really
it is.
good.
This is one of the other executive producers, Matt Shackman,
Okay.
and he produced and directed WandaVision. He's done a lot. He worked on Game of Thrones. They've
Mhm.
got some really good talent
Yeah,
behind the camera here, but they're just it's a swing and a miss.
right.
It's a swing and a
I
miss.
mean, first off, they keep jumping back and forth in time, which should make sense because Kurt Russell plays an older version of his son.
But they're all over the place. They're in the
But they're
future, they're in
all,
the
oh
present,
my.
they're in the past, they're in two different futures, two different pasts.
And then there's the confusion with does that Billy Randa, do you think he grows up to look like John Goodman?
I
Not in
don't.
any universe.
I don't.
Not
I
in
don't.
any Titan universe, not in any
Right.
normal universe.
Yeah, I guess
So that was an issue.
right.
And then there was this romance going on between him and Keiko. But Lee had a thing for Keiko. Clearly, they were clearly teasing that. He was the one who was trying to save her.
Right.
He's the one who sees her at the end.
Mhm.
Oh man, but they didn't pay it off. They just kept teasing us with it,
And I don't know
at
that
the
they
end,
will.
nothing happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Mike looking around waiting for it. I don't know that I don't know that they will pay that off. I don't think we're going
No.
to get a resolution to
And
that.
here's
But
another thing.
it was
Dan.
weird though. Yeah.
Here's another thing that bothered me at the end.
Yeah.
Right? They do this major time jump, and like we said, this one character Keiko
Mhm.
She dies at the beginning. Well, she comes back, but it's what, 40 years later, 30 something, 37 years later, but she's still the same age. She only aged 37 days. So then they jump in this. It's amazing how well that landed, that lunar landing was. 'Cause it stayed
Well, okay.
intact.
Explain what you're talking about. What was that a part of?
Okay, so they sent a, a capsule with, people in it to go down and see if there's, because they were seeing these readings
Yeah.
underground of
And,
titans.
and this was in 1962.
This was in 62 before we went to the moon.
Right.
And they talk about that.
Did we
So
though?
so they go down, and it's this unbelievable drop, and it sucks all trailers,
Everything
into the hole.
into the right.
But here we are, 40 years later, and it's like somebody just put a new coat of wax on it.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, that's not the thing that bothered me. After they go back up, okay, for some reason, when you go up, there's only a time jump of 2 years, and nobody looked any different. Kate, Kentaro, they all had the same haircut. They all nothing was different.
Hmm.
And they leave Kurt Russell, or he gets left on the planet. But when they get back, they don't acknowledge that there's a Kurt Russell in that universe. They
Right.
never ever addressed it.
Well,
Come on, man.
well, but again, you're talking
You're
about
killing me.
but you're talking about-
killing me.
All right, but you're talking about the last couple of minutes of the
Yeah.
episode in the season, so I'm sure they'll pick up with that right off the bat with when we get the second season.
Like all of a sudden, Keiko and Lee Shaw can get it on now. They're about the same age.
Wow, well, you really got a thing for that whole, yeah. Like
No, that bothered me throughout, because they were teasing it and teasing. I was waiting for them to get in a fight, something to happen between Billy, but Billy died off
like-
camera somewhere,
where do you get off calling him Billy? By the way,
because that's what she called him.
okay, I taking some liberties there, calling him
Yeah,
Billy.
that's
I
what
felt
she
like.
called him. But how did he die?
So
We
listen,
never saw his death.
a quick side note, because we were talking about Godzilla -1 earlier. The worldwide gross as of right now is almost 96 million.
Wow. Big
Which,
jump.
interestingly, though, U.S. and Canada is almost 51 million.
You
So
just gave a
still
thumbs up.
outpacing. Hey,
Did you see
still
that?
yeah, still outpacing the international
Japan.
box office.
Right.
Yeah, it's very interesting on that. The critical reception. So if you look on IMDb, you're going to see it's got like 7 out of 10, and then Rotten Tomatoes has the critic percentage at 89% and the audience rating at 77%. What
That's
do you make
for
of
Monarch?
that? That's for Monarch.
Wow, way
Yeah.
too high.
Little high?
Way
Yeah, I
too
think
high.
so. I think so.
I'll give you 2 shows to stream that are so much better than this.
One we're
You'll-
going to actually be doing a deep
Yeah.
dive in.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about Fargo, but there's another that's Noah Hawley that does the TV show Fargo. He also did a show called Legion that's on Hulu right now.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it.
It's a great show.
Couldn't
Great
get into
show.
it. That first episode is so slow.
It's just
so
bizarre.
and it's just so slow.
Well, you didn't like the beginning with Happy Jack, the way the kid grew up?
Yeah, but that's just because you like the Who, and that's not enough to
No.
pull me in. I need
No.
more answers up front. Like, I don't want all of this dragging it out. Like, tell me what's going on. I
Well,
get
that's
it.
because
You
it's big time sci-fi. It's a
right.
really, you got
And
to
I'm
be
not
a
a big
sci-fi
sci-fi guy.
No, you're
Yeah,
not.
I'm not.
And I am.
Yeah.
The other series I've been trying to get you to binge
Not gonna
is
watch it yet.
Ozark.
Right. And see, the more you push, the more I resist.
I know. And then you're going to
So
watch it.
you-
You're going to be saying,
You should be
"Damn
like,
it."
this Ozark is a piece of trash.
No,
That's what you should
Ozark-
do. And then I'd be like, I
which-
wonder what Mike's, because I always take the contrarian view when it comes to you and me. But
Yeah.
I'll get there eventually. I mean, just so you know, I went back and I've basically watched every episode of Fargo from season 1 on. So I mean,
I did too.
I do want to say one thing. Let me say something positive about the series, which was in the last, well, not just the last episode, but particularly in the first and then in the last episode. Um, this a young actress who plays, you
Kate,
know the characters better than I do, but Anna Sawai, who's the young
Maya.
is
No.
that no,
Is it
that's not
Maya
right.
or Kate?
Kate,
Kate.
correct.
Okay.
See,
She's going to be in
excellent job.
Shogun. Yeah.
She'll be in Shogun. Yeah, I really like her a lot. I've become a fan of hers. But there's some emotional beats. First of all, the acting by her in the first episode is really good, and then in the last episode, Mari and her, and even Kurt. There's some emotional scenes there, right? Because of
Hmm.
this whole, age
Time
difference, and they have
jump.
it
Yeah.
right. It was really well done. I mean, I'm a sap for that stuff anyway, so it was really kind of tugging at me.
Yeah.
I thought it was well acted, so I didn't have a huge problem with the performances. I really think it comes down to the writing. The writing on the show
Yeah.
is lazy.
Wasn't
I'm
good.
sorry, Matt, but it's not good
It's not
because
good.
the directing is pretty solid.
Yep.
You got a good musical score for people that care about that. You got some pretty strong acting performances, but the storyline and again, all of this other convoluted stuff with the time jumping. I'm done with the multiverse bullshit. Like, can we
Right.
just put that away?
Right.
Tell me one straight linear story and be done with it.
Yeah. Ever since,
Jesus.
look at Marvel, ever since Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Marvel has gone like
Oh, no.
that.
Do that again. Usually you're so good with the whistle.
I
I'm
can't.
not getting the
Yeah.
effect. Yeah.
I don't got
Mike
enough
needs to hit the
water.
dentist. He needs
But
a root canal.
ever since that movie, Marvel has continually, to the point of the Marvels, the latest is the
Right.
worst of the bunch. And to
Right.
get worse than the original Hulk is pretty tough.
Yeah. Who thought that DC and Marvel would actually be in a race for the shittiest
Right.
franchise at this
And
point?
what is Bob Iger's response? Bob Iger, who I respected at one point, his response is no more movies. We're going to stop making movies because people are overburdened by too many
Okay,
movies.
and
That's
a-
not it.
and
That's
as
not
of
it, Bob.
well, and as of this recording, we just got an announcement on the next Star Wars film, which is
Right.
going to be The Mandalorian and Grogu, directed by none other than Jon Favreau.
Now that might be good.
Well, it will be. It's Jon Favreau. You're
Right.
putting it in the hands of a
Right.
guy that he's got the
Competent.
cachet. He's competent.
He
Exactly.
started the Marvel universe.
That's right, with Iron Man, absolutely. And it's interesting too because we're complaining about the time jump and like all of this stuff, but it can be done. It's just again, you need competence in
Right.
the writing.
Right.
Because what I'm thinking about is what we were just referencing, where we're going to do an episode on Fargo, both the movie and the series,
Mhm.
and Noah Hawley. The writing is just
It's
insanely good.
fantastic.
And this guy, it's in this guy's DNA. He comes from a family of writers. We'll talk about this on that episode, but they do that sort of thing, right? They get a little into the supernatural every now and then,
Correct.
which sometimes I have an issue with, but
Right.
mostly I don't. But at least there's a reason or an explanation for it.
Right.
Whereas in this case, it's just I don't know. I don't.
And
get it.
Bob, you want to
It's too
fix
sci-fi.
you know what he's doing right now? You know what's coming out next month? Turning Red. No, not Turning Red 2, Dan. Turning Red. Yeah. He's retreading old movies, mostly Pixar stuff.
Speaking of
because
which,
that's the good
folks,
stuff.
tune in every Monday for Oh Brother Rewind, where we repackage an old episode
Yeah, but it you know,
and
there's
sell it
footage in
to a
there.
new audience. Yeah,
There's footage in there that's never been seen. So
that's right. That's right. Well,
but
all right.
Bob Iger, this is my message to you, Bob. Just make better movies. Don't stop making them. We still want to see them. We still want to see the characters. Just make good ones. Don't cheap out on it. Don't be an idiot. Don't hire morons.
Right.
And that's my advice to you, Bob.
Yeah,
Come on the show and talk to us.
it's tough now because they've got their hands in so many IPs though too that I'm
Right,
sure there's this you feel compelled, you gotta keep all these plates spinning,
like
right?
Fargo, right? Fargo is on FX.
Yeah.
FX is on Hulu. So Disney has their hands in it. So we
Mhm.
might not see another season of Fargo because
Don't
Disney won't make it
yeah,
because
don't
they're
say that.
cheap.
Don't say that.
So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, I listen,
I gotta get some blood pressure medicine.
yeah, exactly. Hook up the paddles over there. Mo Monarch: Legacy of Monsters Season 1, there's your recap. Clearly, I think you can tell where Mike and I stand on it. A little good, but mostly subpar.
So
Uh,
wait, you'll be disappointed.
yeah, it's
Don't
not
even bother.
no, go what you need to do is go see Godzilla -1. That
Yeah.
and again, it proves Godzilla was only in that for about 9 minutes, but
Yeah.
you had a good story. You had
Yeah.
good writing there.
Yeah.
And now let's be fair too. This is not really Toho, even though their name is kind of on the credit.
Yeah.
This is legendary
This is
still.
legendary. Yep.
And then just and Matt Fraction, by the way, if you go on his rep, he's hardly done anything.
Yeah.
And you, anyways, I don't.
And I
Go
don't
on
know,
and on.
we've got Godzilla versus Kong 2 coming out. I
Yeah,
really don't have an interest in it.
we didn't mention that. I did want to say it was another thing I actually liked, where that sequence you talked about in the last episode of Monarch, where we see Godzilla again. Then you can see as they point out through the series this idea that Godzilla is actually trying to protect Earth
Right.
from
Right.
what do they call them? Is it mutos?
I
Right,
don't even remember.
the unidentified terrestrial organism, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, and he's fighting this one creature you mentioned. But anyways, fast forward to the last like minute of that
You're
episode.
gonna give it away?
Yeah,
Okay.
and you realize that they're well. I'll just say this: they're on Skull Island. Let's just say that
Yeah.
and leave it at that. But that drew me back in for that instant. I'm like, okay, that's that.
But it
You
was
know,
literally
it
10
was 2
seconds.
seconds. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, not even probably.
I don't think so.
All right, so Monarch: Legacy of Monsters Season 1. It's a swing and a miss here with the Old Brother podcast. Mike,
Personally.
like you said, yeah. Now, do we
No
get like
thumbs down?
backwards stuff? Oh, there's
No
no
thumbs
thumbs down.
down. All right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's bad.
another swing and a miss by Apple there with the no thumbs down. So let's talk a couple minutes here as we move out of the recap of Monarch and talk about some of the things we've got upcoming. We're going to do, as we said, we're going to do a deep dive into the world of Fargo, the Fargo verse.
Right.
And we will, I'm going to go on air and say it now, just so I commit to this.
Mhm.
We are going to do a review on the film Killers of the Flower Moon.
Good. Good.
It is now finally 8 years after its initial release available on Apple TV for me to watch. So
And
talk
Dan,
about bait and switch.
the Golden Globes, I was shocked. Lily Gladstone won, which I would have fallen out of my chair if she didn't win. She won,
Yeah, I saw that
but it won, I think, one other award.
at the
Now, I
Globes.
think if they released it like they were originally planned,
Yeah.
I think they would have taken some of those Oppenheimer awards. But
Mhm.
you haven't seen it yet.
What? No, Killers.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
So,
Yeah. I'm looking
but
forward to diving into it though.
yeah, so yeah, that'll be a good one. And
Yeah.
there's a bunch of crazy sequels coming. Top Gun 3, Twisters,
Yes. Do you got Deadpool? Like, there's a lot of anticipated movies on the horizon. Joker,
Joker
2.
2.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's also been a lot of announcements that you and I have been sharing back and forth about movies that are getting their release dates pushed.
Yes.
And so we'll probably have to
Some
talk about
pushed
that.
back, some pushed forward.
That's
So,
right. Yeah. What else? We might do. We've talked about a couple of other classic films because we haven't done a review on a classic film for a while. There was a Keaton film we've talked about. We might do that as well.
Michael
Also,
Keaton,
Michael Keaton. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, for saying that.
Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? Oh no, I guess I did see the Die Hard poster before,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's looking good
because
too.
it's not Christmas. It's an action movie, folks.
Yeah, see, I'm on the side of it's a Christmas movie, but
Yeah. So is his family.
I was gonna find something for I got to get something back here, and I mean I love
Yeah,
this Bruce poster, but
right.
I got to find some movie related
I sneak
film.
in like The Who and Elvis
Yeah, I see that.
Costello.
I
I
see
sneak
that.
that stuff in.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what kind of budget must they have on Fargo for the music rights? Good lord, with some
I
of the
know.
music on that series is crazy,
The same with Legion. They spent
crazy.
money on that.
Well,
You
just
know,
with
y
Happy Jack, I was like, wow, that's
right. You know what's really funny is I wanted to watch this because we were talking about Noah Hawley's show,
Mhm,
and he was really red hot when Fargo first came out,
mhm.
and he was red hot with Legion. So I wanted to watch Legion. So I go on
Save it for
Hulu.
the end. What are you doing? You're getting into our Fargo
All
episode
right,
here.
all right.
Yeah,
But
I got to
well, it
cut
was
you off.
it's a fake out though.
Yeah, so bring it to save it. Save it
All
for
right.
the
All
end.
right.
I do want to say, let's welcome our new Oh Brother podcast team, or as we're calling it now, or one of them dubbed it the Oh Brotherhood, which I love.
I like that.
Speaking of which, you commented on it, I think off air, but you
I
see
did.
this sweet hoodie that I've got right now
Yeah.
on, and I
And on
haven't
the
walked
back.
on the back. It says "Oh Brother Podcast." I haven't gone out in public yet with this, not because I'm ashamed to. I just haven't had the opportunity. But I'm
Hey,
looking
when I
forward to
go out
walking
wearing
around
a
with this.
when I go out wearing a shirt, I've had people come up to me and say, "Oh, what's the link?" And they put it in their
Really?
phone. Yeah.
So why are we not getting any more subs?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, they go to like they'll go. Are you
Yeah.
on Spotify?
We're everywhere, folks.
Yeah,
We're
but go to
everywhere. That's what I
YouTube.
say. Yeah. Now listen, we are the one and only Oh Brother podcast, and
Right.
you can find all things Oh Brother at our website, which is ohb as in brother podcast.com. ohbpodcast.com. You can also find us on Instagram at ohb podcast. This is the new, brand new. Finally, Mike replaced the broken mug he sent me
Yes.
with the nice 15-ounce mug
Well,
here.
somebody got a free mug because a mug
Oh,
went to nowhere's land.
that's right. But we're on all of the podcast platforms. So if you prefer to listen to your podcast, you can get us on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon, like everywhere, anywhere you get podcasts.
But it's much better to watch it on YouTube.
Well, some people prefer to listen. It just
Yeah.
depends on the way you like to consume them. I like to do both. But we
I
have a YouTube channel too. And if you go to YouTube and you look us up, you can look us up by our handle, which is at Oh Brother Podcast, all spelled out. At Oh Brother Podcast, just like you see down below here or whatever. I don't know how that's going to read.
except
But
put the at there.
yeah, at Oh Brother Podcast. And frankly, just look for this.
Yeah, make
And
sure
that's
it's red.
and no, make sure it's this. This is
Yeah,
the
I know.
show.
I don't know what this is.
But go back. We've got just tons of content on the YouTube channel. Lots of different types of content too.
Blogs, movie blogs.
We've got blogs on the website. Yeah, YouTube channel's got first looks where we do trailer reaction videos. We've got regular episodes. We've got interviews with filmmakers of all types, both in front of and behind the camera. And so we really appreciate the support by going out, subscribing to the YouTube channel, giving our videos a what, Mike?
A thumbs up. Happy New Year.
Or 2 thumbs up. And we've really been pleasantly surprised,
and
I'd have
you
to
know,
say, and appreciative of all the support that we have got out there.
you mentioned our new team that's in place.
Well, I didn't get to. I want to mention their names. So we've got
Yeah.
3 new members of the Oh Brotherhood. So we want to welcome Deverick, Olivia, and Ziomara to the podcast, and they're going to be helping us out for the next few months. Really excited, always excited when we
get a new
bring on.
crew.
Yeah, because their perspective, their creativity, their spirit of fun, and just the way that they envision and package things and put it out to you. That's all they're doing. So when you're looking at all our posts on social media, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or X or Threads or whatever, this is all the O Brotherhood team, and so we're excited to see what they can bring. This now, Deverick's already been in the mix for a few
That's right. He's done a
first
couple
look
of first
episodes.
looks.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
done a couple of first looks, and so we're now back, and so we're going to be feeding them with tons of content. We also do a feature called Oh Brother Rewind. You heard me mention that, where we go back and we take a little bit of an excerpt from an older episode that may or may not be topical. It might be something in the news right now, so we push it back out. But they do it in a very creative way, so it's fun to view. It's a shorter version of the original episode,
Mhm.
and just a fun new piece of content for the show. So all of that you can get on the YouTube channel,
And also to the team that just left us, that was hard to see them go. They were great. They upped the game,
yeah, I
which
think they
is
were
what
done with. I think they were done with me. I think they
I
were
think they
ready
were
to.
done with
I think
you.
they were ready to go. Yeah,
Yeah, I think they were okay with me, but
yeah. They've graduated from both the
yeah,
O Brother podcast and their programs, and now they're gonna step out into the world and
do
just
great things.
continue to do great things. Yeah. So thanks for doing such great things for the O Brother podcast. That's going to do it for another episode of the O Brother podcast. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith. And we will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes.